So what does unity do? When we are united and when we allow God to do His works through us, what does the end of 23 say happens? Is 23 up there?
Yeah.
There we go. It's saying, then the whole world will know that you have sent me and have loved them as you have loved me. When we're united, when we are united, then God begins to move through us. And when God is moving through us, the world sees God's love through the work He's doing in us. That's why it's so important to be united, because then everyone around us sees the love that God has for them through us. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So let's be united, because then people see love. When they see love, they see God. God is love. So, like I was saying, my prayer for this group is that we could be completely united so that many, 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 many more will get to know God's love, just as they got to know God's love when Jesus was walking on this earth. So for that, we need to be on the same page. For that, we need to have the same vision. So with that said, I want to share some news, some exciting news. The leaders and I, the leadership group have been kind of praying and kind of seeing, God, what is the vision? What do you want to do with this group? Where kind of do you, what's the point? Where do you want to go? Like, what are we going to be united around? Like what kind of vision can we have to be united around so that you could do your work through us and people could see your love? I want us to be united around the vision of a revolution. Okay? Of a revolution. What a revolution is, like the dictionary defines it sometimes like as a sudden change of position, like I forgot the definition, so I wouldn't mess it up. A radical and persuasive change in society that the social structure, especially one made suddenly, often accompanied by violence. A sudden, radical, we're not going to go killing anybody, but don't worry, that's what the dictionary says. A sudden, radical, complete change. A fundamental change in the way of thinking about or visualizing something. So I want us to be praying for a revolution. A revolution of people's lives being changed completely. Okay? So much so, like 180-degree change. So it's like, do you guys remember that sermon that I gave, Darkness and Light? That people are walking in darkness, 180-degree change, now walking towards light. The Bible clearly says there's only two sides, hot and cold. If it's lukewarm, that doesn't even exist. He vomits you out of his mouth. There's two sides. So either you're walking towards darkness, not yet. You're walking towards darkness, or you're walking towards light. Okay? So, surprise. Thank you. So, with that, that is kind of to explain the heart of the leaders, where the leaders developed this, go for it, surprise, no, this new vision, this new name. We've kind of been identifying ourselves as a Grupo de Jóvenes or Young Adults Group. We were TFC, Transformers Group for Christ for a while. But then, like I said, as the leaders were praying, as we began to feel like God is going to do something amazing. God is going to do something. God is going to stir up a revolution in our lives, but equally as important, a revolution in our surroundings, a revolution in our communities, a revolution in the way we think, a revolution in the way we live out Christianity. Okay? So, what the leaders feel is that we want to mark today kind of like as the Mario Kart checkpoint, like the new beginning. We wanted a new name, kind of a new identity, giving us direction towards where we want to go, and we settled on this. after probably like 2 months of going back and forth, working on different designs. So this took forever. But I feel like God has a plan for it. So we're going forward as Revolucion 180 with the understanding, with the prayer, with the cry that God's desire and our desire is a revolution. Something completely new, a sudden change, something that you've never experienced before. You guys, the Bible is filled with so many stories that are absolutely true. So many supernatural stories of people being healed, of people raising from the dead, of lives being transformed, of people being fed out of nothing. The Bible is filled and filled and filled, and I've had the opportunity to get to know some people who are experiencing that today. Some people who have been healed supernaturally today. Some people who are seeing God provide financially today. Dustin was with me yesterday, and Edson, who came a few months ago, remember that story he told you?
Yeah.
Okay, like, God is moving. God is moving, and God wants to do something incredible in our lives, in our group. But for that, we need unity. For that, we need to be on the same page. So Revolution 180 kind of came out of that idea. That's our identity, or that's our name. You guys could still call us Grupo de Jóvenes. Like, I'm excited about it, but more excited about what God's going to do. The vision for the group is the following. Growing in love through passion, prayer, pureness, people, and power. Throughout these last few months, I've been praying and asking God for direction and asking God for guidance and asking God, what do you want to do? What's the purpose? Why am I here? What do you want to do? I know God doesn't want just another group, just another day to hang out. And I feel He is calling us to this. So I'm gonna break this down. This is the vision, kind of where the group is going, and I pray that we could be united in this. I'm gonna explain it to you, praying that we could all wrap our minds around this vision, all wrap our minds around where we're headed. You guys ready? So growing in love through passion, prayer, pureness, and power. The first one, if you want to go to the next slide, growing in love. We've got a few more minutes. So growing in love. The Bible says God is love. So what this is saying, we want to grow in God through. Our goal, our main objective, our main purpose, why we're here, is to grow our relationship with God. So we want to grow in love, grow in God through passion. Okay? We've been talking about, do you guys remember 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks before that, we were talking about passion for like three or 4 weeks. We were saying, give everything, give everything, give everything. If you seek God with all your heart, you will find Him. The Bible promises that. God is calling us to passion. Matthew 23:37 says, it's Jesus saying, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. When you're passionate about something, you give your everything. You give your everything. What God is saying in this verse is, I want you to be so passionate about me that you are willing to give everything. You are willing to give all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. Okay? You guys see that up there? There's a big old space in between. It's kind of weird. The next one. So growing in God through love, passion, and prayer. What did we talk about last week? When does prayer work? Or it's up there. So, when is prayer powerful and effective? Or for who is prayer powerful and effective? The righteous man. Again, I ask you, who's righteous? Okay? If you've accepted Christ, if you've accepted Jesus Christ, you are righteous through Him. It's Jesus Christ. You guys trade places. You were a sinner. He was righteous. Jesus Christ came and He got you by the shirt and He said, come over here, and He went over there. You are righteous because of Him. Okay? So, The prayer of the righteous man is powerful and effective. If we want a revolution in our own lives, if we want to experience God like never before, if we want revival, because that, guys, that is ultimately my prayer. I've been asking God for that, for revival, revival, revival. We're meeting again at 7:15 before this start, from 7:15 to 7:40, to pray for revival, to pray for this group, to pray for one another. We are crying out to God, believing that prayer is the only way, the main way, the best way we're going to get there. Prayer works. Prayer works. Prayer is powerful and effective, and it's the most important thing we have. So that's, again, why we have it in our vision. So we have passion. We're going to give God everything. We have prayer because it works, and that's the only way we're going to get there. We're spiritual beings. Prayer is in the spirit. So that's why prayer is so effective, because it's in the spirit. We're warring we're doing the spiritual warfare. We're praying for our spirit to grow. It's a spiritual thing. It's effective. Next one, pureness. Hebrews 12:14. Without holiness, no one can see the Lord. Okay? Over and over and over and over in the Bible preaches holiness. The Bible preaches purity. Okay? Holiness is being set apart for God. It does not mean you're perfect. It does not mean you don't sin. We see in John that if you say you don't sin, you're a liar. And then therefore you're a sinner, because you're a liar. Everyone sins. No one is perfect. Holiness is being set apart for God. I gave a class on this like 2 months ago. It's making the decision to be in the light. There's only two sides, light or darkness. Holiness is making the decision to be in the light, to walk in the light. If you stumble, God will pick you up. If you stumble into darkness, God will pick you up. But if you turn and you're walking in darkness, you're not living a holy life. You're not living a pure life. God says, without holiness, no one will see God. Why are we here? Do we want to see God one day? Who wants to see God one day? Okay, that's why it's so important. Everyone, all of us want to know God here, but I'm even more excited about getting to see Him. So pureness is therefore in our vision statement. It's important